All right, let's take a look at the lighting outside. While we do this, I want to talk a little bit about Wiseman and what he said. He said that he wanted to have a safe place for ghouls where everyone was treated equally, and that is part of a new mod. That pop-up there is part of a new mod called Don't Call Me Settler. It's a great thing with some nice tools, but my favorite part is that it picks names from game files and assigns them to your settlers and shows job titles, and it means that we can have a little bit more character to our settlers. Instead of a big group of people that's all just called settler, they've got some actual names. So, back to what Wiseman said. He mentioned that he wanted a place where everyone was equal, and I decided that I want to play with that a little bit and turn him into a terrible racist, because like so much of what goes on in Fallout, there's an awful lot of things that look nice on the surface in Fallout, but once you really start to dig, things kind of turn sour. So our junk shop is well lit, and when we go inside here, if you are a child of the 70s or 80s, especially in America, there was a chain of businesses called the Holiday Inn, and they had, and they're still around, but they had what was called a holodome, which is not generally around. You probably took a family vacation to one of these places where the central feature was the pool, and rooms were built around it inside of a big covered atrium so that it was usable in all weather, and all the rooms still smelled like chlorine. There was going to be ferns and terrible impressionist art all over the place, sometimes with some tiki decoration, that kind of stuff. So that's kind of what I want us to be thinking about when we go inside here. There is a reception desk, which once again reminds us that no humans are allowed. There is a clothing store where you can buy some nice clothes, especially some swim trunks if you don't have any. And before we walk in, we are reminded that a shower is required. So the shower rooms, I have completely stripped out all the beds. I have, however, left the bathroom stalls and put some clean toilets in there to scratch my itch for making sure that all settlers have a bathroom to use. There is a changing room over here where you can sit down and change your clothes and maybe grab a towel, maybe even get some soap for your shower, because they don't want your Wasteland funk in their nice clean pool. The men's room across the way is essentially a mirror image of the ladies. The staff here, if you're gonna just stay for the day, you can just stow your stuff in the lockers here, and if you're gonna be spending the night, they will gladly take your stuff up to your room for you. I wanted to make sure to show this lighting effect in the pool and highlight it a little bit, because I think a lot of people miss it. This is something that's in the vanilla game. It's not a mod, it's not a light that I installed or anything else, it's just here. And I think it's pretty and kind of ethereal, and it's part of the sales pitch for the spa here. Got some towels here. It's part of the sales pitch for the spa, because they'll tell you as a ghoul that if you come and swim in their pool, that it's going to be good for your skin. It's not really. It doesn't have any real effect for ghouls, but it's just one of those little white lies that they tell you. And advertising. I kept the lighting on this first floor dim on purpose so that we could see that nice glow that comes from the pool. It really only shows up if you enclose it, otherwise it's super hard to see. There's some nice tables around the outside where you can sit and play a game of chess over there, or maybe have a snack. We've hidden the workbench back in this corner behind that fern over here, so that if anybody needs to work on the filtration equipment for the pool, for example, they've got a place for all their tools. And over here I've preserved these lounge chairs where you can have a smoke or a drink or maybe read a book. When we go onto the catwalk over here, it surrounds the entire pool, and it's a place where you can have a walk or a jog in some nice climate-controlled conditions. There is a balcony here to take a look at what's going on the patio. These staircases as supports are something that I could have eliminated now that I've got mods and put a more proper gusset in, but these are something that was done by a guy named Dark Dally, who was making some really great YouTube content. He had some interesting ideas when it came to Wasteland architecture. For whatever reason, his channel is dead now. Haven't seen a new video from him in a long time. I hope that someday he decides to come back and start making videos again. Before we take a look at the guest rooms, let's look some more at some of the other amenities that we have at the Ghoul Spa. On the roof, there's a little conversation area. And back over here, we have a weight room for the guests. I kind of wish we had some more exercise equipment type stuff. There's really nothing in mods or in the vanilla game as far as like a treadmill or stair climber or something, so the best I could do for an exercise room was throw down some free weights. But hey, every good hotel has got to have an exercise room. Way up at the top here, during the day, this is a good place to catch some rays, maybe work on your tan. It's only ghouls allowed here after all. They don't have to worry about skin cancer. When we look at the rooms, they're going to look a little sparsely decorated, and that's on purpose because I wanted them to feel like they are visited rather than lived in. If you go to a hotel in the real world, they will be fully furnished, but there won't be much in the way of knickknacks and stuff because they don't want to leave out anything that you can easily steal. That was room 1, and this is room 2. They get progressively nicer. For example, this room has a very lovely queen-size bed with some linens that are going to be cleaner than just about anywhere else in the Wasteland. Each room has a working TV because every once in a while those gunners down at Gunner Plaza will air an old movie or mess around in the broadcast booth. They don't actually know that anybody's watching, but if there happens to be a broadcast, that's kind of a side benefit of staying here. More ferns and more bad art and kind of a chintz couch here, which is another thing that you'd see in those old hotels a lot. There's a lot of potted trees here, which is another thing that you would see in those Holiday Inn, Holidome type hotels. There's a pool table with almost a complete set of pool balls, and a doctor's office up here. Dr. Ash, the settler that mans this particular doctor's office, happens to be named Ashley at random from the Don't Call Me Sutler mod, so we made her Dr. Ash. Unfortunately, she's really kind of underutilized, although she's got plenty of medicine and some beds for people who might be sick. Ghouls don't get sick, and so generally she will treat trauma, and that's about it. She's not doing as much good in the Wasteland as she could because, well, humans aren't allowed up here, and she doesn't like humans anyway, so she won't treat them. We do have some staff rooms around here that are also kind of sparsely decorated because the staff here is paid, but they're not well paid. They are getting enough to get by and put a little aside to try and save, but mostly they're here just working a job as a temporary thing, hoping that they can eventually move on to something better. This room in particular has got a few more people in it. It's got a little bit more on the shelves. It also has a washer and dryer, which is how they get those linens in the guest rooms so incredibly clean. There is a hotel bar and restaurant that's manned by a guy named Anthony. He's got a fridge and a lot of food available. This is something that I maybe could have done with do-it-yourself, but sometimes I think it looks better just to do it the old school way and do it the hard way. Over here, you know what hotel or spa would be complete without a place for vending machines and an ice machine. We don't have a candy machine even with mods yet, but there are some soda machines and a cigarette machine, and the ice is free. This is the last of the guest rooms. It's room number 3, and it is by far the nicest. It's a double queen room. It's got a nice desk and a functional radio, holotape player, fridge, fireplace, and another one of those TVs. I kind of played with making this a suite, but decided that I just wanted to make it a nice big hotel room. So the last of the amenities that we've got is our sauna over here. This is something that was advertised outside, and a post-war ghoul probably won't even know what this is, but a pre-war ghoul is probably going to be pretty excited by this because it's a place where he can sit down and have a good sweat, maybe work out some of those 200-year-old aches and pains. Now that's really all of the amenities that are inside the hotel, but there is one more place that I want to talk about. And if you watch my channel at all, you know that this is going to be kind of where the Fallout twist comes in. See, thing is, these guys are racist, and if you're a human that comes here and you're by yourself and you're not part of the trade caravans, or maybe if you're a ghoul who has too many pro-human sentiments, they're going to come in your room at night and they're going to drag you out when you're asleep and vulnerable, and they're going to drag you down here to where instead of the feral ghouls that they told you they had in here, they've got slaves. Before they throw you in the cell, they're going to cut your tongue out, and the reason for that is twofold. One, they don't want your cries and screams to be intelligible. They tell people that ghouls are in here, and if you have no tongue, your words are garbled enough that if anybody happens to hear you from inside the cell, they're just going to chalk it up to them having ghouls over here. Second reason is that one of the services that Wiseman offers is he offers docile slaves that can't talk back. Let's look inside the cell here. This is the combination locked door that I showed off in another video. I've neatened up the wiring a little bit. Oops, we went too far with it. I have neatened up the wiring here a little bit over what I showed in my tutorial video. I didn't quite get it as neat as I wanted because I couldn't glitch these counters into the wall. By the way, there is a password reminder just in case anyone forgets. So the other thing I could not do was I tried to have another connector there and not run these wires right off that pressure plate. For some reason, it messed up my logic gates and the whole thing didn't work. So I just had to run right off the pressure gate. I'm going to skip around that pressure plate, take a look inside the cell. This is not a happy place. You got a chair, but all they're going to feed, that there's no place to really sleep, and all they're gonna feed you is that food paste. They figure that that without a tongue you can't taste any food, and so all you really need is the paste that gets made out of this old machine that they found in a high school further south. Part of the treatment for the slaves here is sleep deprivation. So not only do they cut out your tongue, but they won't let you sleep for days. You know, at first they will just turn on these speakers that make noise at random and are just loud and annoying and hard to sleep through. They'll just keep waking you up. Once that stops working, they're going to turn these lights on that are so bright that they're still really visible in the daytime and are gonna wake you up when the speakers aren't enough by themselves. And last thing they'll do is they're gonna throw that saw at you and keep you terrified and cowering in the corner and afraid to sleep, because if you sleep you might roll over and end up in the saw. So by the time a buyer shows up, these new slaves are going to be so thankful to be out of this cell that they're actually going to be happy to go with that buyer and not try to escape. And that's it. That is the Slog, which is a nice place on the surface, but once you scratch the side and see that they've got handcuffs and shock batons and all the other things to keep their new slaves in line, you realize that this is not really what it appears at first. Hope you like what you saw. If you did, be sure to hit the like button. If you want to see more, take a look around the channel and hit subscribe if you want to. If you didn't like what you saw, be sure to tell me why in the comments so I can try and do it better next time. This is Nacho Bidness saying it's a great big wasteland out there. Let's go have fun in it.